Welcome to Daily Plunge. We are in the book of Ruth, chapter 2, verses 14 through 33. After gleaning in the fields of Boaz, Ruth is invited by Boaz to come and eat with all his field workers, with his people, really. And he goes out of his way to provide for her. And she eats all the roasted grain she can because she is famished. Again, the story of Ruth is about how God's people are to live trusting the Lord, not just by worship, but by their lives. How are they showing that they trust God? By the way they treat each other. And it's not that our works are our salvation. Our works are a result of our faith. They are evidence of what God is already doing. And so here's Ruth and Naomi really living out a very human situation under God's provision and under God's sovereignty. Throughout this story of Ruth, throughout this is the work of God. God is working from beginning to end of this story. He is very much a character in it, a participant. And so Ruth gleaned in the field until evening, and then she threshes the barley, it says, and she carries it back to her mother-in-law, Naomi, Mrs. Bitterness, right? Mrs. Bitterness, to see how much she gathered. And Ruth, she brings it out, and her mother-in-law, Naomi, is like, oh my gosh, where'd you get all this? Blessed be the man who allowed you to work in his field. Well, it's Boaz. Oh my gosh, Boaz is one of our guys, she says. And so she says, the Lord bless him. And blessed is the man who took notice of you, who cared for you. Again, blessed is the one who cares for widows and for the poor. Blessed is the one who is living out the faith by doing works of goodness, of kindness for others. As it says, showing kindness to both the living and the dead. Of course, Naomi thinks of herself as dead. And this is what responsible caregiving looks like. Ruth is a story meant to encourage us in our own caregiving of other people, especially those who are most needy. And as she says, well, Boaz is a close relative. He's one of our guardian redeemers. And he said to stay in my field and keep working. And so Naomi tells her, stay with his female workers so you don't get harmed. Now, that's an interesting statement. Here, even in that time, the fear of violence against women, right? That's what the undertone is. But why would there be that when Boaz is given the instructions to his other people, to his men, make sure that no one harms her? So God is providing safety for Ruth and for Naomi through his own people. God is working through his people, and that is the blessing of faith. Thanks, friends. Have a blessed day. If you like what you hear on the Daily Plunge, please share it with others. Subscribe, like on whatever format you're listening to. Thanks. Have a blessed day.